Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So with Forza Horizon 6 likely confirmed to be a part of the next Xbox Developers Direct, which should happen this month on January of 2026, as well as the game rumored to be releasing during the first half of this year, this means that quite soon we are going to start seeing the launch car lists slowly unravel. Now of course, as some of you may already know, a huge number of new cars that were added throughout the life of Forza Horizon 5 came directly from Forza's official suggestion hub, where players could vote on their favorite cars that they wanted to see featured in the game. However, at this moment, there is a slight problem. All of these votes we see right now were all made during Forza Horizon 5's Mexico era, and now with Forza Horizon 6 heading to Japan, all of a sudden, some of the highest voted cars may seem to not make any sense at all. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the top 10 highest voted cars and see which of them do or don't belong in the Japanese setting. This Honda Accord has somehow crept up to 10th spot, currently holding a total of 1400 votes. Now this car is nothing more than your typical everyday driver that you'd probably see out cruising in real life. I mean, even here in Australia, I see this car too. Now with the votes, it seems like the community wants something a little more specific. The model in which they want is the North American Honda Accord and not the Inspire badge that was exclusive to Japan, or the Proton Perdana for the Malaysian market. Also, the sedan is more preferred over the coupe. Even though I do quite like the two-door Accord, the community is still a little undecided whether they want the original or facelifted version. However, what is undeniable is that the performance trim, which packs a big 3.5 litre V6 producing nearly 270 brake horsepower, is the model they want. As I've said many times in the past, I would love to see more everyday cars in the Horizon series, but does this fit with Forza Horizon 6 Japan? I mean, that's a pretty easy answer. Of course it is, and if Playground Games really want the next Horizon game to feel authentic, they should probably introduce the Japanese market Honda Inspire variant instead. Currently sitting at a total of 1502 votes, do I really need to say much more about this car right here? Last seen in Forza Motorsport 4, this was undeniably one of those cheap tuner cars nearly all car enthusiasts in the early 2000s who just got their license either owned, thought about owning, or even raced against. Even I myself have a yellow one of my own. The car's lightness, its upgradability, and even just the shape of the car exudes tuner culture. And although the model from Forza Motorsport 4 was the VTI variant, which housed a 1.5 litre single overhead cam VTEC 4-cylinder engine producing only 128 brake horsepower, what I would like to see is the full SIR JDM spec with the full 1.6 litre B16A engine. However, that's not all. According to the community, 47% of you want to see the EJ Coupe, which, hey, I'm not going to argue with that, as the coupe looks just as cool. And if you're asking me if this car will fit with Horizon 6 Japan, 100%, and I hope Playground Games introduces this car back into the franchise very soon. With a total of 1,764 votes, I still can't believe after all these years since the early days of Forza Horizon 4, the JZX 100 is still not in a Horizon game. Yes, sure, Playground Games introduced the JZX 80 Toyota Chaser, and as cool as that was, it's still no JZX 100. But here's where things get very interesting. Turn 10 introduced the Mark II Tourer V in Forza Motorsport alongside the return of Fujimi Kaido, which probably means that at some point this exact Mark II Tourer V will make its way into Horizon 6 Japan, even though majority of the community would still prefer to see the Chaser variant. Look, anything is possible, right, with these Japanese cars. I mean, Playground Games introduced the Toyota Sora, which they certainly didn't have to, as Horizon 5 already had the Lexus SC300. So who knows, given that the Chaser is the most recognized version of the JZX 100, maybe we could see that in Horizon 6. Either way, this car is very suitable for the Japanese setting. Currently sitting at a total of 1,851 votes, the Fiat Uno was certainly a surprise when it started gaining popularity. Now, I don't really know too much about this car other than the fact that if you stick a ladder on the roof, it simply makes it go faster. Is that true, or is it an urban legend? Let me know down in the comment section below. This car is also incredibly popular in Brazil, as it was affordable, built to survive, and could be modified for many different purposes, whether it's rallying, circuit racing, or even just bolting on a massive turbo. Now, had Playground Games introduced the Fiat Uno into Horizon 5 Mexico, yes, I believe it would have made a lot of sense, especially for the Latin American car culture. However, as we move to Horizon 6, sadly, I believe this will be the first car in today's list that I don't think would truly be suited for the Japanese setting. Slightly beating the Fiat Uno with 1,866 votes, it's no secret by now that both Playground Games and Turn 10 had plans to feature the Maserati MC20 in both Horizon 5 and Forza Motorsport. However, due to whatever undisclosed licensing issue, the car was never featured. Here are the undeniable evidence supporting the claims, including a complete TikTok that was quickly removed by Forza themselves after they recognized the mistake. Now look, the MC20 is one of those popular supercars that everyone knows and loves, and considering that the Forza team has already modeled this car, as well as Playground Games recently stating that they will continue introducing a broad range of cars similar to how they did with Forza Horizon 5, I have no doubt we will see the MC20 in Horizon 6 Japan, as it does fit more with the Horizon branding alone, more so than the Japanese setting. Sitting at 1,878 votes, the Chevrolet Chevy was an iconic hatchback that at one point was Mexico's best-selling car, even beating the Nissan Tsuru. Although the title was short-lived, it still solidified its name as a legendary vehicle through the eyes of the local. Now, of course, around the world, this car is also known as the Vauxhall or Opel Corsa B, the Holden Barina, but these votes were specifically for the Chevrolet Chevy and for the Horizon 5 Mexico setting. Now, it also seemed like the community wanted to see the C1 generation over the C2 and C3, but either way, is it too late now to introduce this for Horizon 6 Japan? Sadly, in my opinion, I do think so. Much like the Nissan Tsuru, this car needed to be introduced during Forza Horizon 5. Otherwise, players who aren't familiar with the Chevrolet Chevy are going to think, why is this car being introduced when there's so many more other Japanese cars that they can bring in? Never say never, but I think the chances of seeing the Chevrolet Chevy for Horizon 6 are pretty low. Breaking the 2,000 mark with 2,018 votes, the Lexus IS or Toyota Altezza was actually last seen back in Forza Motorsport 4, and the cool part was that we had two different variants that we could drive. The first was the Lexus IS300, which housed a 3-litre naturally aspirated inline 6, producing 218 brake horsepower, whereas the Toyota Altezza RS200 was fitted with the 2-litre inline 4, producing around 200 brake horsepower. It was one of those few cars in the Forza series where we could choose between the Japanese or American variant of the same model. Now, according to the votes, the model in which the community wants to see the most is the Lexus IS300, mainly because of the non-turbo 2JZ engine it houses. And honestly, I think this would be a great fit for Horizon 6 Japan. Perhaps the Altezza may be a better choice, but given that it's been so long since we last seen this car in a Forza game, any one of those variants will do. With a total of 2,106 votes, the only other AAA racing titles which feature this car that I know of is the Grid Legends and the Crew Motorfest. Both these titles only include the prototype version of the Bolide, which is completely understandable as at the time that was the only version available. However, since then, Bugatti has released a full production model, which doesn't look all too different than the prototype. It's also statistically heavier with a lot less horsepower. Now again, this is one of those cars that fits more with the Horizon series and branding, more so than the Japanese setting of Horizon 6 alone, but for some reason, I just don't see this Bolide as a huge priority for Playground Games. I think there's more of a chance to see this introduced instead. Sitting comfortably in second place with 2,229 votes, this feels a bit like the same situation with Bugatti. Playground Games doesn't seem particularly fond of these hypercar brands, as we haven't seen a brand new to Forza car from either Bugatti or Koenigsegg since Forza Horizon 4. Now, this Koenigsegg Gemera is unique as it does feature 4 seats, all-wheel drive, and was previously powered by a 2-litre 3-cylinder twin-turbo engine paired with 3 electric motors, producing 1,400 brake horsepower. However, plans have changed and the Gemera will now use the same engine found in the Koenigsegg Jesko, boosting the total output of the Gemera to an absolutely ridiculous 2,300 bhp. Much like most of the other supercars featured in the Horizon series, I believe the Gemera is more suited with the Horizon branding more so than the Japanese setting, but it still makes sense to introduce this vehicle. With nearly 3,000 votes, I don't think it's a secret that most of us simply want this car to return. It's an absolute icon, and what makes this situation even more frustrating is that we continuously see the SLR featured in other racing titles like the Crew Motorfest and Gran Turismo 7. Yet for whatever reason, after Forza Horizon 2, Playground Games just decided to drop this car altogether. Yes, the car did appear in a debugged version of Horizon 3, but that doesn't really mean much when the vast majority of players never had access to it. So the real question is, will the developers finally acknowledge this car's existence? I mean, why not reintroduce the SLR back into what is possibly going to be the biggest Forza game ever? So, out of the 10 highest voted cars right now in Forza Horizon, only 2 of them have completely gone outdated due to the series heading to Japan. But what do you guys think? And what new cars would you like to see for Forza Horizon 6, especially at launch? Make sure to share your thoughts down in the comments section below, as I do read all of your comments, guys. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button, as it really does help me out. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with everything Forza Horizon 6 related, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.